Right, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars, and we're carrying on with the build we've done on the little Escort. So I've got the body cut out, I've got to peel the outer protective cover off it, and the only other thing that I've done so far, I've stuck a bit of tape on the foam tape on the inside of here, just to make it so it holds the battery a lot tighter. Also bent the end of the body clips up, and then just makes it easier to get them in and out, but it does make it so it's a lot tighter fit for the battery, so it's not going to be wobbling about everywhere. And then to work out the height of the body posts, literally just drop the body shell on and just kept moving it until it looks like it's in the right place, and then just cut the body posts. So you can see sits at a nice ride height because it is a rally car. So just clip the body posts, and then on the inside of the body use some of the foam tape what Tamiya give you, just to stop it scratching off on the body posts, because it is quite a nice body shell and the body clips will probably make a mess of it. But yeah, been quite a nice build so far, but we have more to do. So let's bring you in for a close-up and show you finishing the body shell. Right, so first thing we're going to have to do is get the protective cover off this body shell. So we have one really shiny body shell. Right, next thing we're going to have to do, so we've got the lenses for the lights, so we're going to start with these. Then we're going to need the sort of spotlight buckets. Now these I'm going to have to drill out the hole in the center because they've got like a ridge inside them, and I want to stick LEDs in them. So we also need the front bumpers, which I would quite like to fit some LEDs in these for the indicators, which is definitely going to be a challenge. And we got what I believe is the rear light cups, and we're going to have to do some modification work on these as well, because I've got the indicators that I want to fit in the rear ones. We've got our front lights, they should be straightforward. Last of all, we have the mirrors. Not seeing any insert for the mirrors, so I'm wondering if they deal with that with just stickers. These are going to be as front lights, so we're going to have one of them at each side. Now we need to get our front LEDs. Right, so we're going to drop an LED in. We're going to put one of the silver brackets on, then one of the shorter silver screws, and that's as LED mounted. Now it does say you can paint these silver, but at the minute I don't have any silver spray or silver paint, so I'm not going to bother. I don't think it's going to be a problem. Seems that I'm sticking LEDs in them all. So that's got our light buckets with everything mounted. Next, it tells you you're going to mount these using this white foam. So if we drop these over, you can see they've got a big square on them, and it basically just asks you to cut out a piece of foam. So that's got one bit of foam. Let's have a look what size we need for the other side. These do screw in as well as so you want these with the top light innermost, and then it won't interfere with the headlight or anything. So to mount these, it is the longer screws with a tiny little washer. So I get that started, and then get another one. So that's how we're going to want it to sit, with that facing the, well, my left hand side of the car. So let's get the opposite side built up. So that's as two front bumpers with the spot lamps in place. Now what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to want, these are the rear sort of lights. So I'm going to drill a small hole in here, same size as my LED, so I can get my LED through into the indicator sort of recess. So I'm going to want a hole in here. I'm going to want a hole in the corner of this one. Then the LEDs I've got for the spotlights, although they do fit in this first bit of the hole, it's got the sort of taper and it goes smaller towards the center, so they won't fit in. So I'm going to have to drill the spotlights out to 5mm. So let's get that done. Right, so now we need to get our rear lights. So we're going to take our red LEDs first, and you're going to drop one of them onto the light bucket, then another of these little silvery grey mounts, then one of the smallest screws. And when you're tightening these up, you just have to make sure you're not crushing your LED wires or anything like that. They're literally just to hold the LED in. So that's one. Let's get the next one in place. And I'm quite optimistic about the holes that I've drilled in these. At the minute, they're kind of looking like it's going to work well. So that is going to be as rear lights. In the corner here, I've drilled, see if I can get the light, but I've drilled a 5mm hole, so we can take as indicator wire or LED and just push that in. And I've drilled it so it's going to be quite a tight fit, because obviously Tamiya never envisioned us putting indicators in these. So as you can see, we've got indicator and there's brake light. As I say, you're meant to paint these silver, but I've currently got no silver paint. I've drilled the indicator location out, so I'm then gonna want to put some little holes in the bodywork so I can bring these through. And I'm just going to put these LEDs just flush with the front of the plastic, and then fit the original sticker, so it should light up roughly around the centre, look like an old-fashioned indicator. I've also drilled these out. We should have holes in the back of these now to mount our LEDs. So I've just got to get these mounted to the body of the car and see where we're going to want to bring the holes through for the wires, because they're going to mount in that sort of position. So I think, looking at it, so directly in the middle here we can bring a wire through, and then we've got the indicator. So we're going to need a little hole in the middle of them. So let's get us body reamer out and put some holes. We only want this just big enough to fit the LEDs through. So I'm going to go in between them and at the side of that, in between that and at the side, just to see if we can get the LEDs through and keep the wires as tidy as possible. Right, so we've got the lens covers on with the LEDs in the back. It's just 2 of the longer silver screws. I've got 1 extra hole in the middle of the light setup. So we've got as indicator it mounted in the front bumper. So what I'm going to carefully try and do now is get the lights to line up. Let's see how close this is going to be. So we've got to somehow bring us wires through, and then the light bucket for this side, I've cut a little bit out of it at the top, so hopefully we can bring all them wires through. So it looks like it's going to line up. We just need to make sure we've got no bits kicking around in here, and then we should carefully be able to line it up. And then we just need to get some of the screws in, which is going to be easier said than done while I'm trying to hold all these wires together. So although these front lights are proving to be a bit of a challenge to get the indicators where I want them, I think the overall look is going to be worth it, providing I can get the sticker to stay where I actually want it to be. So we just need to get both them screws tightened up, and then it should hold in. So that's the mess of wires we've got inside so far, but outside it's actually looking like it should. So we're going to have spotlight, headlight, and a little indicator. So hopefully by the time I get these stickers on, we'll be able to cover that indicator up a little bit. Or I might just leave it like that, depending on how it looks. But let's get the other side fitted to match. So for the spotlights, it's just a case of drop the lenses on first, then put 2 of these long screws in each one of them. They're just the thin silver ones, so it's not a difficult process, and you can slide the lights in after, but just make sure you've drilled the holes where you need them first. And one thing I do find is that little bit on back of them off the tree, well worth making sure that's clipped off first, else they won't sit flush into the light buckets. And then one final one. So that's his lights in place. Right, so we need to get his light bucket in place, and then we've got to carefully get all his LED wires through, but you should be able to line them up somewhere near. And then we just need to get his final screws in the back, which is a monumental pain in the backside because they're fiddly. So I'll get that one started. And that is most definitely the biggest pain in the backside of building this entire RC so far. But at least from the outside it kind of looks nice. It looks like it's where it should be. And we have a rat's nest of wires. Now moving on to the rear lights. So these, you're going to want to stick some sticky foam on them, and then we're going to want to get them into position as best as you can, and then you should just be able to push them into place. And now's as good a time as any to see how tangled your wiring is. We just need to get the final bits on here, so I'll get them cut. Alright, so that's the next lot cut, and let's see if we can get it into place. That is our rat's nest of wiring. Hopefully that reaches to where it needs to, and hopefully these LEDs work. So last thing we've got to do for fitting these body parts is poke some little holes in the side and get us wing mirrors done. So all I'm going to use for that is just the body reamer, and you've got little indentations, so I'm just going to cut the holes out and get them in. Right, so we've got the holes, so you're going to want to put one of the mirrors through, and then one of these little rubber O-rings, and then you've got one of the smaller of the body clips. So you just need to get them through and then just pin them in position. And I must admit, this is fiddly. So let's get the body and all this mess tidied up and then see what it looks like. Right, so let's get the lights put in, and any of the eagle-eyed ones out there will have noticed one of the mistakes I made putting the indicators in. I'd got them side to side instead of front to back. Obviously you need a left and a right, not a front and a rear for indicators. Concentrating too much on getting holes in right place and not on getting LEDs in right place. But what we're going to need to do now is make some sense of this absolute rat's nest of wires. So you need to find out which ones are which lights, which is one of the reasons why I decided to use two different colours for the spotlights on front, because then I know which are which. So we've got as left side and as right side of the RC. So this is going to be our left hand indicators. So let's see where they go. So if I've got this right, it should go left hand indicator, then right hand indicator, then the next one should be headlights, then the next one is tail lights, and then should be top lights, and the second one from end should be as blue flashing lights. So we've got a lot of wires to tidy up to make sure that these aren't going to be catching on anything, and we still want to be able to take the body shell on and off. So you want to stay away from that side of the RC. What I'm going to do to start with is just sort of bunch these together, but I'm just going to put a little bit of tape on them instead of tie wrap, just to kind of get a feel for where I want them all to sit. I think it's probably going to be best heading for the center of the car. So if we just do that. Put it around there somewhere. And it's already starting to look a little better. It really is quite well suited to fitting in this Escort. So that's just a quick tidy up. Let's see how we're gonna look once things are connected. Definitely need to have a look at where we've got the power wire coming out, because that's pushing against the body shell a good bit. It's kind of stopping it going on where I'd want it. So definitely might have to move the power wire. Right, so this is not going to be an extensive feature set of what these lights do, because I've already done a video. I'll link it at the end of this one showing you exactly how to set them up. But basically we have hazard lights. You can turn the front and tail lights on and off with one button. So hazard lights, indicators, and we've got indicators on the front, then with different amount of turning wheel, so you can change what the spot lamps do. And then you've got a whole load of different running modes. So we can have sport mode, where it only comes on and brakes. And then you can have mode where all the lights are sort of coming on and off. Fast flash. And then back to as normal driving. So quite a lot you can do with it, and I'm really pleased how this has come out. So all that's left to do now is, when I get plenty of time, get some stickers on it, and there's plenty brightness come out of these things. So overall, quite impressed. Let's wrap this one up. So that is the little Escort, pretty much finished now. Just got to put stickers on to tidy it up. I think I might put the rear light sort of stickers on, but not entirely sure. I'll have to see. But really impressed with how the lights have come out. I mean, that is really impressive. Just adds that extra bit of realism to it. So just the scale look of it. Quite like how you can have hazard lights and everything on it as well. So overall, quite impressive. But it's been a long drawn out sort of thing with this. So I will probably do a quick follow-up video when I've got all stickers on, just to show you guys what it's like and get it out running. Obviously with light kit, we'll try and get some nighttime shots of it, so you can see how well it lights up in front of it. But thanks for sticking along with us on that one. I think it could do with some damp shocks, because at the minute that's pretty much, that's going to drive like an old Escort used to. The FlySky G7P controller is absolutely fantastic. But thanks again for watching Wtf Rc Cars. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one.